You're listening to Meet the Wedding Suppliers, a wedding planning podcast that introduces those planning a wedding to the creatives that turn wedding day dreams into wedding day reality. My name is Philip Smith. I'm an award-winning wedding videographer, and over the past 7 years, I've worked alongside some of the very best suppliers in the wedding business. And in this podcast, I'm sitting down with photographers and florists, planners and caterers, venues and videographers, cake makers and toastmasters to discuss their process, the lessons they've learned, and their tips for those planning a wedding. So a quick story to start then. I first met this episode's guest back in 2013, right? So my wife and I have a stand at a wedding fair in Brentwood, here in Essex. It's a massive wedding fair. It's in a giant hangar and we're totally out of our depth. We really don't know what we're doing. We're not confident in the films we're making and we're not confident in what we're selling. I've only just started. I haven't yet defined my style and I don't really know what's going on at all at this wedding fair. So we had a pretty disastrous first day. But on the second morning, this tall, confident photographer walks over. He's working the room, right? He comes over, he gives us a big, strong handshake, says he loves the work and he hopes we have a great day, and then he walks off. So who's that guy? My wife says, all flustered. I don't know, I say. I later learn that it's this man. It's Scott Johnston from The Edge Photography. Now, do you remember that?
I do.
Good.
I do remember that. I remember because a mutual friend of ours said, my friend's going to be there. And I always go and see the suppliers. You go and see your makeup artist, hairstylist, and I thought, I wonder if Phil's about. Looking up and down, and there you were. This again, another tall, skinny man, and there you were. And yeah, I remember it was a good show.
The one thing that I'll take away from that, though, and I think it's really important to talk about, is confidence. Because what I really admired by the fact that the way you almost worked the room and came and said hello to us was your supreme confidence. Now, Scott and I have worked together on many occasions, and this is one of the things that I love about you as a photographer, is the confidence you have on the day itself. And I think this is something that couples listening to this need to really appreciate, is that it's really important, particularly from a photographer's point of view, to have confidence, isn't it?
I agree. I mean, I was very shy. As a kid growing up, I was painfully shy. And it wasn't until I started working on ships that I thought, because we were on commission, and I thought, if I don't start taking pictures, I'm not going to get paid, and I've got a bar bill to pay off. So I had to learn very quickly how to kind of not work a room, but not ask people, tell them they're having their photographs taken in a way that they haven't really gotten out. It's like, right, guys, just stand there, squeeze in, and we're going to take a picture. Ready, get nice and close, 1, 2, 3, and snap. Before they even blinked, it's done, and it's up on the wall when we're selling it. So that I kind of take it in the weddings, because there's nothing worse than having a wedding with 150 people and a photographer is just kind of looking like he's lost, because the bride's then looking at me, because we've got to do these listed shots that she's given me, and she's going, well, are we going to get this done? And you're like, well, yeah, okay, I've got this. And you got to just take charge. You can't beat around the bush.
And what's interesting is that obviously I work with pretty much a different photographer most weeks, and there are some that are quite timid and they're almost embarrassed to be there. They're almost embarrassed to get guests in a certain position or to pose the bride and groom in a certain way. But what I like about when I work with you is that you're not embarrassed by that. No. You know you've got this job to do.
Yes.
There was one thing that I'd like to just quickly look back on. You and I did a wedding once at a place called Down Hall. I remember you got all the guests, you were upstairs in the window getting a group shot.
Yes.
And we got all the guests outside, and the minute we got everybody together, it started to rain. But I think you said something that day that was really interesting. I remember filming it as you were saying it, and you were saying to everybody, look, if you give me 15 seconds, we'll take this image that will last forever. And you were basically saying to everybody, just chill out about the rain and just look this way.
You're going to get wet. It's, let's just do it. That's because, it's everyone at this wedding, all 125, whatever it was, and you're never going to get everyone in one place. And yes, it was hemorrhaging down. I think I remember you sent me the clip of it where I'm like, that's it, you're done. And everyone just scatters away from the rain, and it's unbelievable. But if I hadn't gotten that shot, then there's going to be people now that wedding was a couple of 3 years ago, maybe. People now aren't going to be there anymore, and that's the only record that they might have of their friends and family at the wedding, which is why I think it's so important to get a group shot where you can.
I'll put a link to that clip in the show notes, because it's quite a funny clip. Everybody's standing there and then Scott goes, you're done, and they literally disperse. It's quite amazing.
Gone, yeah.
So if we can, should we start at the beginning then? You weren't tell us about you. You weren't born with a camera in your hand,
No.
were you? No. So how did you get into photography when you were a kid?
It was a funny story. So I always kind of liked it. And then we went on various holidays. I had a little compact camera and didn't do too much with it. But it was at school where I did quite well at IT. But I didn't do as well in maths and English. Just being dyslexic, it wasn't diagnosed until much later on. So I had to resit those. And because I did so well at IT, they wouldn't let me do another IT-based course. They said, it's a dead easy. We're going to do something else. So it was either human biology or photography. So I kind of thought, well, I'll do the lesser of two evils, do photography, because it should be the dark room. I can sit there and just do nothing for an hour. And that was literally where it all started. And it's the first time I saw a picture that I'd taken, develop the negative, and then process that negative onto a picture, and you see it appear in the tray. I'm like, that's cool. Yeah. And that's it. And that was 1997. So what we now, it's 22 years ago.
Yeah. And so have you had a camera in your hand pretty much since that moment then?
No. I was always interested in it. Yeah. And then it wasn't until I worked on cruise ships that was then my first paid role as a photographer. And then we had to have that was all film cameras back in the day. So that was when we were hustling. Yeah. And I'm still hustling to this day. You still got to go out there, and the minute you think that, I've made it, you've won all these awards, you've got all these weddings, and you stop working, that's when the phone stops ringing, sort of the email stops pinging. Who rings that up anymore? So yeah, you got to hustle, and it was the cruise ship that taught me how to hustle. So
tell us about the cruise ship. So how did you get into that first of all, and what were you doing, and how long did you do it for?
So I was worked for a professional photo lab. I left college, did an IT course, and I got to the point where I was 18. I just didn't want to learn anymore. I was fed up of school. I just you know what, I'm just done. And my heart wasn't in it. I was turning up late. I was having days off because I just couldn't be bothered. And then I got a job at a pro lab. So I was developing negatives from professional photographers. And it was there that I kind of thought, it's quite cool. I have interest in photography. Yeah. And that was that. And a guy came to work for the lab, and he'd just finished his last contract. And he told us all of these stories. And I was just like, I was 22, single. Yeah. I think I quite fancy that. Yeah. And so I emailed, he gave me the email address of the boss, and I emailed in, and then I got interviewed down in Romsey in Hampshire, and 4 weeks later I was on a ship in the Caribbean.
Wow.
It's as quick as that. Yeah.
And where did you go? Around the world?
No, so we started in Port Everglades, which is Fort Lauderdale, and then around the Caribbean, through the Panama Canal, up through Costa Rica, Guatemala, Mexico, San Diego, across to Hawaii. Did that loop a couple of times. Wow. The ship actually broke down. So my first ever contract, my first ever cruise, the ship broke down in Acapulco. So we had to turf all the casts off because the ship doesn't work. It's got one propeller, it's broken. Yeah. So then we had to go into dry dock. So I had to lift the ship out the water, fix what was wrong with it. The nearest dry dock with availability was Newport News, Virginia, which is currently known as the armpit of America. Anyway, and that was a 5-week, what we called a crew cruise. Wow. So because when you go through Panama, they know the schedule of the ship. So if you go straight through, but because we were an unscheduled transit, we were sitting off Panama City for 4 days, and we had all the food for what was supposed to be for the passengers. Yeah. We had the disco, we had the clubbing, and we were just living like absolute royalty for 5 weeks. It was amazing. But
what a life as a 22.
Yeah. It was just, it's unreal. But I remember when we got to Newport News, the fight trying to get off just to get on dry land after 5 weeks. It was awful. But it was good fun.
So what were you were taking pictures of guests then, were you? So what was the deal there? What were you doing? So you basically taking pictures of guests and then offering them, selling them the pictures to them?
So back in the day when it was all film, and we launched digital cameras on that ship. So that was at the end of my contract. But so when you would come on, there'd be an embarkation picture. So we'd have 2 drop downs saying Infinity, Port Everglades in the date, and right, stand in the box, stand there, snap. Next one, stand in the box, snap. So every passenger or guest, we weren't supposed to call passengers, got photographed. Yeah. And then by the time they were checked in and went to dinner, we'd process those negatives and we'd printed the pictures, and they could buy them as they walked through the gallery. Wow. So literally anything that we could...
But all those are skills that I can see already that you bring into the wedding, isn't it? It's a case that you have to get people in a certain place at a certain time really quickly, take their picture quickly, because particularly as guests at a wedding, they don't want to be waiting around while you take out a picture. So you're in and out quickly. Yeah. But also if you're learning on film and developing that, you haven't got an opportunity to take a bad picture, have you?
No, and I still shoot film. I've got a fridge full of film just there, so I still shoot film, but I try and get it right in camera. and you do it quickly and effectively. Because, like you say, I hear people come up here all the time and say, "Oh, we're at this one wedding, and the guy, they just took forever. We were there, we were an hour and a half, and I'm 20 minutes and I'm done because the bride and groom get bored. They're seeing all their friends eat canapes that they've not had a chance yet. They're dying for a champagne." Yeah. I enjoy the group shots because, again, it goes back to that family thing that you're going to get grandparents and that's going to be there, which is awesome. But my skill set is not taking group shots. Yeah. So the least amount of time I can not do group shots, the more I can have fun and take the shots that I'm kind of known for. I kind of see weddings as trying to feed Emily, who's 5.5. You got to have your peas and carrots, get the group shots out the way, and then you can have your jelly and ice cream because that's the fun bit. And
it's important to talk about that with couples. The photographer is the ability to work out if a bride and groom are into this or not. And I've seen it many times when a photographer has dragged a bride and groom out and they're not into it, but they still continue to try and take a picture.
It happens to me still. And you think you read people, and it's amazing what nerds can do on a day. You speak to them up here and they're all excited and they really want to, be a part. They've seen your sample albums and they're like, this is what we want. And on the day, something's gone wrong, a dress has gone missing, or someone's got flu, and all of a sudden all they wanted just goes out the window. And it's kind of our job to say, just take 5 minutes, let's just calm down and just, I'll come back. Don't worry about me being yet. We've got plenty of time. I'll come back in 5 minutes. Just don't stress. And then once you can kind of get brides on side like that, and I think we're fighting for them, not against them, then they're a bit more inclined to kind of give you a little bit of that back when you need it. So it's all about rapport.
It's that skill as well, isn't it? Because people have got to give you a photo, haven't they? You can't just take anybody's photo. They've literally got to give it to you, haven't they? They've got to put you in. They've got to pose in a certain way, or you pose them. Yeah. They've got to be willing to give their image over.
Yeah, pose is a dirty word at the minute. Not many people want to be posed. I like direction.
That's nice. Okay,
I like to direct my brides. But then again, we're not into doing the cheesy stuff. It's again, you've seen me shoot a number of times where I don't do the cheese. We're trying to make them not feel awkward. So the way I shoot is just, let's just kind of get you looking awesome in these amazing backdrops. And then it's me, just a case of just drop your shoulders, relax the shoulders and just turn your hip a little bit towards the left. And that's it. And it's just because they're not being posed, quote unquote, they enjoy it more. And because I don't shut up when I'm talking, I'm trying to get them relaxed and comfortable. They open up a little bit more. They start to laugh. They start to enjoy it, which is the main thing.
And that's honestly, from someone who's been there when Scott's been working, that's one of the things I do admire about the way you work, is that you can get a couple in a position, a pose, directed, and they're standing in a certain way, and I look at them and think, it looks good. And then Scott will say, just move your shoulder down, or just move that elbow in, or just lift your right leg up or something, and it just changes the whole dynamic of the shot.
Body shape, body shape. You always start with the feet. And my bride said to me, I've got a big dress you want. I said, I will know what foot you've got forwards because of how your body shape is. It's the old song, the leg bone to the knee bone, and it's because you put the wrong foot forwards in your body shape, you look awkward. And it's just about just relaxing yourself and just kind of, because sometimes I'll show the back of the camera, not always, but sometimes I'll say, look, this is what we've got. They've gone, oh my God, that's not me. When it is, I've just taken it. It is you. And then you start getting more trust, and because they're thinking, I'm looking okay. You spent a fortune on your hair, fortune on your makeup, and you show on the back of the camera, and all of a sudden they believe that they look awesome, and all of a sudden they go from like, right, where do you want me next? And you've got them, and it's just amazing when that happens.
I think it's one of the things to remember is actually if you're looking to hire a photographer and you're looking at the price, this is the thing. This is the sort of stuff that you pay for, isn't it? I mean, even it's just a small thing about directing someone's body shape, but ultimately that image will look a load better than just standing there flat.
There's nothing. I mean, I print judge, and there's nothing worse when I'm judging prints and a bride and groom look flat-footed and they're just up and down and straight. You want to see a little bit of shape in it, and again, it's just refinement. I'm not talking like major changes. I'm not talking about making you bend over backwards. Literally, it's just refinement in how you stand can make you going from looking okay to elegant, and that's a difference.
I think as well, if I could describe your work, I think that's the thing. It's classy and it's elegant, but it's contemporary at the same time. How would you describe your images to people?
I would say, I mean, I've been called fine art before, where a lot of the images that I'm taking would look good because the one behind you, the umbrella up there, and it's just you don't see a bride's face, but she had the trust in me to I'm going to cover your face up and your hair. You spent £500 on both, and you're not going to see him. Just trust me. And it takes you know, a lot of the times that couples come up here, I'm saying, you might like my pictures, but if we don't get on and you don't trust me, we're not going to make any of that happen. And I think that's the big thing is rapport, being congruent with what you're trying to say and get everything right. I mean, you say about the price, where Gucci said that price is forgotten long after quality is remembered, or something like that. And it's just about, you know, when you see the finished product and the album, you don't care how much it costs because you look amazing in it.
That's a really interesting point, actually. I remember when my wife and I got married, and our photographers no longer work in weddings, but we were delighted with the images. I cannot for the life remember me how much we paid for those pictures, but we're just delighted with them.
Yeah.
That's the thing, isn't it? These images are going to live forever.
Yes, they are. I mean, the albums we have there, I mean, they are time capsules and they're heirlooms and they last forever. And my parents' album, they got married in 1976. You open it up and the pages just fall out over the floor. Yeah. Albums are built to last now, and we only offer albums. So we don't do USB only. We just do albums because we believe that this is the one thing that will increase in value after the wedding day.
Yeah, I had a friend of mine who got married 2016, 2017, something like that. And he said to me, I remember him phoning me up one day, and he said to me, because obviously I work in the industry, he was asking for advice throughout the wedding. He said to me that he wasn't going. They decided they weren't going to get a photographer, and that they were going to ask their friends to take pictures on iPhones.
Okay, yeah.
And I told him that was the biggest mistake he was ever going to make, because I think I said to him is you spend, I believe, that you spend the money on the photographer and or videographer, if that's what you're into. Most people definitely go for video, definitely go for photo. Some go for video.
I was about half, I'd say. About half the weddings I shot last year had a videographer there.
But it's those two things you'll go back to. 6 weeks after the wedding, you won't go to the venue, you won't wear the dress, the flowers would have died, the cake would have been eaten. You'll go back to the photos and videos again. And that's the one thing you've got to keep in mind when people are searching around for photographers.
Totally agree. I mean, when we got married, Emily was 3 months old. So she was there, remembers nothing about it, but she'll often say, can I watch your wedding video? Because she wants to see herself as a 3-month-old baby. Yeah. And then we sit down with her and watch it. And it's like, there are people that were in relationships that have now split up. And like, oh, I miss her. She was lovely.
She was fun.
She was more fun than him. Why couldn't we keep friends with her and not him? And that kind of thing. But so that's where it's important. It's about legacy. And I think, you know, for the we are, in one of my keynotes that I give, we are the most photographed generation on the planet. And at the minute, we've got nothing to show for it because it's all going on Snapchat. It's all going on Instagram. And guys, print your pictures. It's not a photograph until you print it. Yeah.
We'll go back to your other stuff, your keynote speeches in a minute. But can you remember the first wedding you did?
Yes.
And what was it like?
I was absolutely crapping my pants. It was at Gosfield Hall, and it was on May the 2nd, 2005.
For those who don't know, Gosfield Hall is this amazing venue in Essex.
Essex, in the other side of Braintree. Yeah, it's just this most amazing. It's like Elizabethan Georgian house.
It's a beautiful country house.
It's breathtaking. Yeah. And I remember turning up there thinking, I am so out of my depth. And I was working for somebody else at the time. So it was my first wedding solo for him. So I didn't want to let him down or the bride and groom down. And I remember just doing this wedding, and we did it. I just summoned the inner strength, whatever it was, and we just did it and we smashed it out, and it was okay. Looking back now, I think, what the hell were you thinking? Why'd you stand there for? But we did the job. They were happy. It's all that matters. But oh man, that was nerve-wracking. But the first wedding for The Edge was in 2006, and I'd had 18 months of shooting weddings solo, but I was more nervous when it was my name above the door than somebody else's, and that was at Lease Priory, which is the sister venue to Gosfield Hall. And it was a quick 4-hour job, gorgeous July day. And we did. It was okay, but I remember turning up and I had one camera, one lens, one flash gun, one memory card, because that's all I had. Wow. I absolutely, I was so worried if this goes wrong, I'm in trouble here. It's not anybody else. It's long while ago now.
It's a stupid amount of responsibility, really, isn't it? Capturing this couple's day, because they don't do it again. No. You're not going to repeat something. No. You can't go back and take another shot again. It is a ridiculous amount of responsibility. And even now, when I get to the first leg of each wedding, if I'm at the bride's house or going to the groom first of all, or go to the venue first of all, I always park the car up and just sit just for like a minute and just compose myself and just think, okay, come on, this is going to be, you got to focus on
kind of the same. I will never turn up geared up with my camera gear. I'll always go in the house first, no cameras, no bags, and just say, hey, I'm here. Just because they know I'm here. But if I walked in with all my equipment, they'd be like, oh my God, who's this guy turn up? You know what I wear.
And Scott looks very smart on the day, actually. You've got a fine wardrobe when you say
all thanks to Ted Baker on that. And but if I walked in with my cameras, on my strap and my lens belt, it's going to be overpowering. And also what I do is I try and find out what the atmosphere is like in the room, because you don't want to go and start photographing when I've literally just had a row with someone. The florist might be late, or the makeup's not quite right. And it's just about sussing out atmosphere and also who my characters are. So I'll just sit back and just watch people just chat. So I know she's nervous, she's okay, she's going to be really good. I have some fun with her today. And it's about knowing where you can play off, then they'll bring the others out. And that way everyone's a winner. These
are all things that couples need to appreciate. This is what they pay for.
They're not just paying for pictures. They're paying for, on the wedding day, videographers. We are bridesmaids, counsellors, hairstylists. We make sure we're Toastmasters. We make sure the day runs to plan, because if the chef has got soup ready for 4:30, we've got to be absolutely sure that we're in for 4:30, because chef might not feed us. So we have to make things tick along quite nicely, and again, that's just experience as well.
I always find as well when I go and see when I first walk in to see the bride in the morning, I believe sometimes that you can tell what a wedding's going to be like within those first few minutes.
I totally agree.
By particularly how you're welcomed in. Often when you turn up and the mother of the bride knows who you are, knows you're coming, offers you a cup of tea, would you like a croissant that's there? The girls will say hello, the makeup artist suddenly everybody's in a really great mood. And you, from that point on, this is going to be good. But there are times, and obviously it's going to be like this, it's a stressful day. And we're all aware that the stress and the pain and the trauma that goes into putting a wedding on. Sometimes you walk in and you instantly sense there's an issue.
Up.
And that's the instance when, as you just said, you take a step back and you don't get the camera out, because getting that camera out will probably piss people off.
It'll antagonise them more and think, I'm too moody. Dave, no, my hair's not done. I'm not happy with my face. Just leave me alone for a minute. And it's just, and you'll pick that signal up, just walking in and just observing what's happening in the room. And I've always done it. I've got a little pre-wedding routine. I never put my waist jacket on until I get to the venue, ever. So I'll put it in the car on the front seat, and I'll get to the venue and I'll suit up.
Oh, that's nice.
And that's like cue to, right, let's start. Let's get into wedding mode. And I'll generally have some music on to get myself primed and excited. And I'll never... it's really weird. I don't know why I do that, but if you see me at a wedding and I haven't got a waistcoat on, I'm not ready to go yet.
You know what that is? That's playing the part, isn't it? You're almost becoming, you're the actor. You are moving from Scott, and then you're becoming the Edge. Yeah, that's what you're doing at that point. I like that. Yeah. So from that moment on, do you know how many weddings have you shot in total?
So we did the first wedding in 2006, and then we are in early 2019. I would comfortably say about 650.
Wow.
A lot.
Wow.
Yeah, I went 8 in the first year, 24, 56, and then I left full-time employment and I booked everything. I did 113 a year after that. And Beck downstairs said to me, "You do one more year like that and I'm gone." Because I was a nightmare to live with. But now we do about 40, 50 weddings a year.
Do you put a limit on the amount that you do each year? Do you say, I'm not going to do any more than this?
I always say if I can get to 50, I'll be happy. At the minute, I'm trying to get it down to 40, because then the work-life balance is a little bit easier. Emily's 5.5 now, so I want to spend more time with her. She's now at school. So if I'm shooting weddings Friday and Saturday, I don't get to see her. So I never really photograph on a Sunday anymore. I'm not religious, but I think that's family day for me. That's the time that you can have a busy Friday and Saturday, but Sunday, is like we're going to go to the park, or we're going to go to Chessington, or we're going to go to the zoo, or just do something fun, because we have to de-stress, and we have to we need that day to just kind of go, sit back in a chair and go, oh man, that was a busy couple of days. And you have a bacon sandwich on a Sunday morning, and if it's sun's out, you go to the park.
So that's interesting. So from your point of view, what components make a good wedding? What do you think you need?
From my point of view, or from a bride?
Well, I suppose from your point of view, when you're shooting the wedding, what do you think is important for you to get really great images? What
trust.
And that's trust from the couple.
Trust from the couple, that if I'm, back example, the print up there on the wall, it was hooping down my rain. It was really, really wet. And I said to her, "Have you got an umbrella?" Because the dress was stunning. The veil was beautiful, gorgeous cathedral length veil. And I said, "Have you got an umbrella with you?" She said, "Yeah, I've got a white one." I said, "Do you want to go outside for some pictures?" She's gone, "Yeah, I want to get wet." I went, "Yeah, but it's going to look awesome. I just trust me." I said, "I wouldn't be saying this if I didn't think we'd have a shot and we'd nail it." And she's like, "Yeah, you know what? Yeah, you're right. We've paid you to come and do it. I like the stuff you do. Let's go for it." So it's 4 bridesmaids. We hiked the dress up. We walked out, and the bride, where I covered her face, spent 5 or 6 minutes photographing her. I was getting drenched, but I don't really care. And we got the shot. So trust for me is one thing, and just kind of being a bit open-minded, and the dress will get dirty on the wedding day.
Yeah.
No matter if you're getting married in a rainstorm or it's like 2018, a bone dry summer, it's dusty, it will get dirty. So I think if brides can kind of, without being patronising, get their heads around the fact that it's not going to be immaculate all day, and yes, it's going to pick up a bit of dust and dirt, but the balance to that is some amazing images in locations that no one's really gone to before. I tried to take my couples to somewhere that no one's been, because I want to give them something different from a venue that I've shot at 1,000,000 times. But just let us do our job and just trust us. And if we're saying it, really a good reason why we're saying it.
Yeah, there is nothing really more soul destroying, really, when you're working a wedding, is when you've got an amazing sunset, and there's a really great shot, and you really want to take the couple out, and the groom's keen, but the bride doesn't, because it might be wet underfoot or something, and it's a tough balance, isn't it? Because you don't want to annoy people. No. Your job is not to annoy them. No. Your job is to get some really great images and shots. And if they don't want to do it, they absolutely don't want to
totally
do it.
Get it. Yeah.
It's not a problem.
It's not my day. I'm just there to try and facilitate them and their day and capture it in a way that I want to capture it. But if they say no, that's fine. It's not up to me. I can just make suggestions. You go, I just don't fancy it. It's fine. Absolutely fine. I'll be gutted. But it's not about me.
No. So tell us about some of the other stuff that away from shooting weddings, because full disclosure, we're recording this about 2 days before you fly out to Las Vegas.
That's correct.
And you're doing is it a keynote speech in Las Vegas?
It's not a keynote. So basically I speak as a convention here in London called SWPP. I'm a member of the guild, and I print judge for them, and I give keynote lectures on photography and how to sell albums and how to make the images that I take. So last year I was asked out to Las Vegas for WPPI, and I've been asked back. So so I'm literally downstairs halfway through packing, and then I have a wedding tomorrow, which I have to leave here about 8:30, and I will shoot the wedding, and I will go to the airport from the wedding, and I'll fly to LA in the next morning.
Wow.
So very rock and roll.
That's pretty cool, isn't it?
But, it's just kind of stressful knowing that I won't get to come back here and back up the files. I'll take my hard drive and I'll put them on the cloud before we fly, but it's just, I've got to make sure everything's done properly. But I really enjoy it. That's
pretty cool as well. If you're a couple that have booked Scott for a wedding, and you see that you're flying out to LA to make a speech in front of a load of, the industry's best photographers, that's a pretty cool thing, isn't it?
Yeah, I mean, WPPI was something I was brought to attention to about 10 years ago. People that I used to learn from, and they run online courses. That was always the thing. I went off to WPPI. I thought, what is this WPPI? And it's the world's best. So it's wedding and portrait photographers international is what it stands for. And you have photographers from all over the planet descend on Las Vegas for a week and basically wreck the place.
Wow.
It's just, they're photographers, we play hard. But there are speakers from all over the world. It's a print competition, so we print our best work, and it's judged live. So I'm very fortunate to be one of the 54 print judges this year. I've been asked to be a judge out there, which has just blown my mind. I'm a little guy from Essex, and here I am judging at the world's premier print competitions. Go figure. But what it does do is, when I'm giving my talks and I'm judging, I'm critiquing prints, I'm thinking about my own work. I'm thinking, okay, I spoke about this, and here I am about to make the same mistake I spoke about. So I have to try and rectify that in my head, and it actually makes me a better photographer because I talk and I print judge.
It's that continuous learning, isn't it? The minute you think you're at the top of your game, you've lost automatically.
It's like when I got my black belt in karate years and years and years and years ago. My sensei said to me, right, now you can start learning it properly. And it's the same thing. I got a fellowship, and it was kind of then I just kind of thought, okay, now I can go off and do what I want to do.
Did you win an award recently as well? Was that
Yeah, I won for the Guild of Photographers Wedding Photographer of the Year. So most.
Sorry, say that again. You won Wedding Photographer of the Year.
I did.
Let's make a big splash about that.
I did. So most associations, it's over one print, so you can enter a print and it's judged and you're Photographer of the Year. But what the Guild do, which I think is awesome, is its consistency throughout the year. So you have to enter 3 prints every month, and each print is awarded gold, silver or bronze.
Wow.
and then you get those stages get points, and the most points basically wins.
Yeah.
So and I forgot to enter in June, which I was really upset about. So over the 9 months of last year, which you enter, I entered 8 months, and I got the most amount of points.
That's pretty cool, isn't it?
So it's
That's
pretty
really
neat.
good.
Yeah.
And those are mainly those all wedding photos?
All weddings, yeah. So you can't enter. I could enter landscape or some street photography, but I focused on the wedding side of it last year, and I got enough points and was the winner. So it's pretty cool.
That's fantastic.
Yeah, the big trophy's behind you, Phil, if you want to see it.
That is incredible. It's a massive trophy. I'm going to say that again. Massive trophy. Tell us about this thing you do on your, because I found this really interesting when you told me about it a while ago, on your Facebook page. You've got a Facebook group that you set up, haven't you? And so your brides in there all talk to each other about this? They talk to each other.
So I've social media that isn't very social, I believe, at the minute. It's all adverts and pop-ups and clickbait. And social media, I believe, is there to be social, what it's there for. So what I do, I set up through my photography business page, which is where I put all my, I just shot this at Maiden's Barn, for example.
Yeah.
That's linked in, so anyone that books in with us, there's a link to our community page, and you can go on there. It's only for brides that book. It's not for advertising. Right. I've got no suppliers on there. Yeah. If brides want to recommend other stuff, that's fine, but it's not for me to kind of push to one place or another. And they're asking for help and tips on makeup and dresses and videographers. And it's just trying to keep the conversation going, really. And I've got about 150 people in there at the minute.
That's amazing.
So I'm hoping that it's going to grow this year, and then more brides. We're doing more same-sex weddings now. So we've got grooms that are now coming in, putting their twist on it, and brides are going, "Oh my God, that's an amazing idea!" And then nicking it for their wedding. And that's what it's about. It's about sharing, and so everyone has a good experience. So it's got brides that I have photographed already are going in and saying, well, on my wedding day, we felt this was awesome because this helped the day flow. And I go, oh, that's amazing. Yeah. So it's everyone helping everyone. And where can people find that? Is the Facebook group, is it? Yeah, so if you go onto my Edge Photography business page, and if you are one of our booked brides, you can request to join it. It's one of the pinned posts at the top. You can click on it, ask you a couple of questions about who you are and what date your wedding is, and then I moderate it, and then I open the Wizard of Oz, we pull back the curtain and through you come. Amazing. Oh, so I was reading this thing the other day about unplugged weddings. Yeah. So you've seen this thing in America. So for those who don't know, it's this idea that couples say to their guests, turn your phones off. Don't take any pictures. We're paying the photographer, and if there's a videographer, we're paying them good money to take their pictures. And I've seen a couple of people. It's starting to happen over here. Not as many as I'd like. But what's your view? What's your view on that? I think it's a great idea because you see it at rock concerts, and I've done it. We've all done it, where you sat there and your favourite band are playing your favourite song. Out comes your phone and you record it. And do you remember that being played? The answer is no. Will you ever look at that on your phone? Maybe once or twice. But if you sit there and you immerse yourself in what you're actually watching, you will remember it. So I'm all for it, because there's nothing worse than being at a church where the vicar's being particularly, how do we describe, testy. Well, let's say, right, you stand at the back, you don't move, because some vicars are like that. Yeah. Most are brilliant, you can stand where you want, but there are some that say that's where you're standing. And if there's a guest that sticks their iPad out in the aisle at the point where they're going to put the ring or kiss, we miss that shot. Yeah. And they won't remember the guest doing it. They'll say, where's the shot of our kiss for the first kiss? And I'm really sorry. So I'm all for it. I mean, most registrars now will tell the couple, the guests at their speech at the start before they get married, the couple have requested, like you say, no pictures, but once the photographer's got his shots, you are welcome to come up and take your shots. So we're not saying don't take pictures, but we have to kind of be selfish in that part of the day, because that is the only record. That's the whole point of the whole day, is that 25 minutes. And we have to kind of get as much as we can. If we don't get it, the one shot that they're going to want is the one we might not get because someone's put their hand out in the aisle. So I'm all for it. I'm all for it. I've had a couple of instances last year, 2018, when the couple are walking down the aisle in a church and everybody stands up in front and gets the picture. And we're at the back of the aisle trying to get the shot of the couple coming down. And it's one of those things where I've kind of I've relaxed myself because I kind of view it now as that happened. Yeah. And we can't go into the day and have complete control over it. That's not how it works. You almost I remember from a video point of view, I always think of it as I'm kind of making a documentary. Yeah. I can't really plan any of this. It just kind of, things happen and I'm there to capture it. And then in the edit, tell the story. Yeah. And so if Uncle Bob steps in front with his camera,
that's kind of what happened, and I can't really do much about it. But there's been a couple of times where I have sort of tapped people on the shoulder and said, would you mind just moving out? This is a really important shot. And they've totally got it.
Yeah, but we're not having a go. It's that people generally forget we're there because the cameras we use are silent. Yeah. They generally forget we're at the back. Yeah. So all it takes is a little tap on the shoulder and just say, look, sorry, mate. Oh my God, I'm really sorry. And they'll move in. And the funny thing is when you say it, they'll look back before they take a picture, which is, I think it's really respectful for what we're trying to do as an art form. Yeah. But there are some that don't, some that still go ahead. And as you say, it is what it is. It's nothing you can do.
And my wife and I went to a friend's wedding a while ago, and we came back, we sat we got home, we got into bed, got our phones out, and realised we didn't take one picture throughout the whole day. And it wasn't because they'd asked us, we just had our phones in our pockets and we were of the opinion that we should be enjoying the day rather than trying to capture a moment. I've got a great shot of a wedding that you and I did at a venue called Hengrave Hall in Suffolk. Beautiful venue. And as the bride comes down the stairs, it's wedding inside, she comes down the stairs into the Great Hall. I've got her in the background and her mother in the foreground, slightly out of focus, sort of focused on the bride. And you see the mum get the phone out to take a picture, turn it on, realise that the camera's facing towards her, then she faffs about with it a little bit, tries to turn it around, and by the time she's turned the phone around, her daughter is standing next to her. She's missed that moment. Yeah. And that really meant a lot to me when I was editing that back, and I thought, you've missed that moment. Now, you've got the photos, I've got the video, we can relive it. But in that one moment, you've kind of missed it.
Because there's just more, you see it before where they photograph the face, they've got the camera the wrong way around, they flash themselves, but just for half an hour, just immerse yourself, because that's what you're all there for. That's my advice.
I think it's a really interesting idea, and I think more people are thinking about doing it. And I think for couples listening to this who are thinking about that sort of thing, I think from our point of view, from myself with video and Scott with photo, I think I always tell couples that the speech is to a lesser extent, but the service is a document of the day. This happened like this. These are the important things that you're going to show the kids in the future, and you're going to go back year on year on year and that sort of thing. And it will look better if your Uncle Bob isn't taking a picture halfway through.
And it's for us to kind of get that memory for you. And if you live it, and then you see a picture, you relate to it more than if you took the picture yourself. It's really weird, but let us do our job, and we're going to do, with the greatest respect, sometimes a lot better job than your little iPhone or your iPad. So it's let us do it, because it will just look better in the long run.
No, that's good advice. One of the things I was going to talk to you about was about when couples are looking for photographers. I suppose the most important thing for them should be that the style of the photographer fits their style of the wedding, shouldn't it? Yeah. I mean, there's obviously things like how they get on with you and if they trust you and if you've got the same interests and that sort of thing. But really, it should really be about the style that you shoot. Does it fit their style? Yeah,
I mean, there are some photographers that if the wedding doesn't suit them, they won't book it because they have their style, and I'll shoot like this, and your wedding doesn't fit my criteria, therefore I won't do it. Which I think is a little bit pretentious. I think you can't afford to be that picky in this day and age.
Exactly.
Whereas with the experience that I've got, I can do documentary. I can go really fine art traditional, because that's how I was trained as a traditional group shot for an hour and a half, 87,000 images on a list, and that's what we're going to photograph. So I can do all that. But then I have albums here in the showroom that each wedding is different. So when I'm chatting to the couple, the albums don't come out for 20 minutes. So I'm trying to find out about them, when they got engaged, what turns them on, what turns them off, what wedding they've got. So I go, right, let me show you this, and I'll show you the wedding that suits them as a couple. They go, that's perfect. That's the one.
So couples come and meet you. Do you always meet couples, or is it regardless? Is it really more of a case of if they want to meet you, or is it a thing that you always say you always want to meet them?
Both. I mean, I think it's important for them to meet me and me to meet them, because like you say, some couples that I've sat here and they just don't get what I'm trying to get, or I'm looking at the wedding and I'm thinking, I think I'm going to struggle, and I have to this day. I've turned people away and said, I don't think I'm the guy for you. I know if your style of wedding, there's a better person that can do the job better. And I actually last year, we did a pre-wedding shoot. We do every now and again, and the couple came back and said, we love these pictures, but they're not quite what we wanted for the wedding day. So I said, we kind of got through to it and said, well, what style do you want? And they told me the style they want. I said, well, I can shoot that, but there are better guys who can do it. So we agreed we mutually cancelled the wedding, because I didn't want to second guess myself and have her second guess me. So we just kind of, and we get on, we still chat. And I said, look, I think it's probably best that we go our separate ways. So I don't want to let you down on your wedding day.
I think that's a really brilliant thing, honestly, because I think sometimes people can just book you for the sake of booking you, and actually there isn't a relationship there, or your style doesn't fit the style of the wedding, and actually to identify it very early on and say, I'm not the best person for this. My style isn't going to fit your wedding, and I can find you someone who's going to do justice and serve your wedding properly.
And I saw her pictures on her Instagram, and they were exactly what she wanted. And I know, and I couldn't have got anywhere near that style. I could have done it, but it wouldn't have been as good as what she had. So I'm really pleased that we kind of worked that out 9 months before the wedding, because it's just not worth the phone conversation afterwards. And then they say, we just don't like them. I'm really sorry, because it's too late at that point.
Can't go back.
It's just too late. I say on the community page, it's when you book us, chat to us. If you want a recommendation for makeup or hair or video or anything, we know the guys you want to work with. Much like yourself, you're good fun to work with. Some guys want to get in the way and take over, and you're like, oh, when is this guy going home? But it's about getting the right suppliers that work well together, because the last thing you want on a wedding day is to see the videographer and the photographer having words. You just don't want it, because it's going to put you on edge.
Exactly.
No pun intended. Yeah. So it's just about doing the research and ask for recommendations. Say, look, we've been doing this 15 years nearly. We know the guys to go to. We know what works well. We know what doesn't. Yeah. It's just, just ask the question. We are here to help. So if we're going to wrap it up now, and if I ask you for your 3 top tips for couples that are looking to plan a wedding. Yes. What would you suggest to them? What are your 3 top tips for them? Certainly rapport. I think go and meet the supplier, because if you haven't got that click and that spark at the initial inquiry, you're not going to have it by the wedding itself. And that's really important to kind of get the best out of you, the best out of me. I need to bounce off couples with the energy that I'm giving out. They get it. It comes back to me, and it's a tennis match going back and forth, and it's just awesome. So definitely rapport. If you like the pictures but don't like the photographer, they're probably not the one for you, because they're just going to annoy you on the wedding day, and that's massive. That's gonna more do harm than good. Trust is a big thing. Trust, as I said before, if we're saying something, there's a good reason we were saying it. Expect the dress to get dirty, but it's gonna be awesome. Trust me. And most of all, have fun. Just live the wedding, enjoy it. Every now and again, just take 5 minutes and just step away. Have 5 minutes to yourself. On the summer weddings, once the speeches are done, I'll take the couple out for another photo shoot, and I'll say, right, I've done what I need. Come back in 10 minutes, and I'll leave them just to have fun themselves, because the day will go so quickly. If you don't make that time for yourself, it's going to be gone before you know it. So just immerse yourself, but take time to yourself as well. Those are 3 absolutely fantastic bits of advice. And I think everybody, if you're listening to this and you're planning a wedding, those are 3 bits of advice really to live by. That's a man who speaks from experience, and I think that's excellent advice. So where can people get all the information? What's the website? So website is theedgephotography.co.uk. That'll get you to the online portfolio and to contact us for weddings. Facebook, we do use it. It's the Edge Pics at Facebook, and then the same tag for Instagram. We Instagram probably twice as much as we Facebook, because I think it's a medium that suits my style better. So Instagram is where it's at. So at the Edge Pics for Wonderful. Instagram. Good stuff. My name's Philip Smith. I am available at philipsmithvisuals.com on the website, and you can also search the Instagram and the Facebook there as well. Scott, thank you very much. Phil, thank you. It's a pleasure, mate. Good work. Thank you for listening to Meet the Wedding Suppliers. For more episodes, free resources, tips and show notes, head over to our website at meettheweddingsuppliers.co.uk. My name is Philip Smith, and you can view some of my wedding films over at philipsmithvisuals.co.uk. And if you've loved the Meet the Wedding Suppliers podcast, we'd love for you to subscribe, rate and give an honest review over on iTunes or your podcast provider. Until next time, thanks very much for listening.